بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم أخرجني اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our study of training and education in Islam by the late Ayatollah Mutahhari. Today coincides also the birth anniversary of Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam. So I congratulate you and pray that Allah include us among his true followers, inshallah. As you know, Imam Kadhim alayhi salam said, ليس منا من لم يحاسب نفسه كل يوم. It's not from us the one who doesn't evaluate himself on a daily basis. So we need to do muhasabatun nafs, to evaluate and assess ourselves every day, maybe in the night, maybe in the day, but in every 24 hours we need to do this. Okay, we were talking about factors that contribute to tarbiyah. The last lecture is about the last factor. This is the end of the book, and that is about working. In Farsi we say kar, to work. He says, maybe some people think we are the ones who work. Work is our action. Therefore, we decide the type of work that we are doing. It's our effect. This is correct. But your work also has influence on you. You have influence on your work also has influence on you. Or you can say your upbringing and tarbiyah have impact on your work. Then in turn, work has also impact on your upbringing and tarbiyah. So there is a mutual relation here. If you do nothing or if you work, they are different. And then when you work, what do you do? How do you do? They all have influence on your character, on your traits of character, and therefore we need to discuss this properly. He starts first with some hadiths that are samples. These are not the only hadiths. Just as examples, with some hadiths that show Islam has very high regard for people who work. Who are not indifferent, who are not, idle, who are not dependent on others. They try their best to work and make halal earning. For example, there is a hadith in Wasa'il al-Shia which says, truly Allah loves those who have occupation. Or the famous hadith, al-qaddu ala iyalih kal-mujahid fi sabilillah. someone who works hard in order to look after his family and those who depend on him is like a mujahid who struggles in the way of Allah. Or mal'oonun man alqa kallahu ala nas, the one who puts his burden on others, just benefits from others without benefiting them, is mal'oon. It's far from mercy of Allah. Or it is said that when, and maybe this happened more than once, for example, when a person was mentioned that, this person has these qualities, but at the end it was said or replied that this person doesn't work. So Rasulullah said, Sakata min ayni, he dropped from my eyes. Means if he does lots of good things but is not working, it's lazy or is dependent on others, this is not good. He says some people think that it is a sign of a spirituality, a sign of not being attached to dunya if you don't work. But he says this is not correct. Yes, you can choose a type of work that is meaningful, a type of work that is helping others, a type of work that is not demanding you to do everything just for the work. You have no time for family, no time for ibadah, for learning, for community. Yes, the type of work, the amount of work are very important. But the main thing is that you should work. You should not be passive. Then he tries to explain this from different aspects. One is that he says it's a duty, it's a responsibility. We are benefiting from works of many, many people. For example, he says the book that we read. This book is an outcome or result of work of many people to make the paper, to make printers, then those who work in the printing houses, they print the book, they have to do the binding, they have to ship it, they have to put it in the bookshelves so that we buy. The people who do the delivery, many people. And how the paper is made, it's a long story. So many people have worked. Or the bread that we eat, many people have worked. I need also to contribute. I cannot just benefit from the work of others. So maybe one aspect of the hadith which says the one who puts his burden on others is cursed, is far from mercy of Allah. Maybe one aspect is that if you benefit from the work of others in society, it's not just about someone who takes money from people, for example, without working, or takes goods without working. It can mean also that you are not contributing to social life. Then he says, if we want to focus on tarbiyah, we don't want to talk about the economical, socio-political aspect, just about tarbiyah. So he says, it is good for our body, for our health. If you are active, it's very good for your body. Of course, if you don't exhaust yourself too much, because sometimes people work so much that the body can be harmed. But reasonable work is better for body than just resting. Also, it's good for our khayal, for our aql, inshallah I will explain, for our heart and emotions. So he starts with khayal. Alhamdulillah, in the series on Adab al-Salat by the late Imam Khomeini, we recently had 3 sessions on how to control the faculty or the power of khayal and imagination. One of the most destructive things in spirituality is when our khayal is left free. Sometimes you engage your mind in a structured reasoning, fikr. This is good. You know what you want to achieve, you keep thinking about it, you put premises together to come to conclusion. This is good. But if you leave your mind to itself, mind is not going to relax or let you relax. Mind is going to just go to the storage of the ideas which are preserved, the images which are there, play with them in a very creative way, putting them together or creating new things, and basically pushing you to the direction that your nafs wants. Many sins, many immoral actions and decisions happen because of quvwa khayal. People think about something and they become so excited about it that they cannot resist anymore. Initially was just a little attraction, but when you keep, thinking about and let your khayal, develop it, so it makes such a huge thing that you cannot resist its attraction anymore. Or sometimes you think about someone who did something or said something that you didn't like. You can keep thinking, and then you explode. You so much then would hate that person. It has started from something small, but your khayal can develop it to become something that you cannot resist. Many kind of enmities, hostilities start with little things, but khayal is free and they don't control the khayal and it becomes big issue. There is a very wise saying that maybe it is from Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Ayatollah Mutahari here says, as a hadith from Amirul Mu'mineen, there is no reference in the book, but it's very deep. النفس إن لم تشغلها شغلتك. Your nafs is made in the way that if you don't keep it busy, it will keep you busy. You need to engage your nafs in work, study, thinking, tafakkur, studying, so that inshallah you have the lead, you have the control, not the other way around. This is very important. So, nafs helps us with controlling our khayal. And here he quotes from some books that are written even by some non-Muslims who mention the same thing about the power of nafs and khayal and how it can lead to explosion. He says, Sometimes people think that, for example, women are more maybe inclined towards ghiba and backbiting than men, because some women, when they sit together, they do ghiba. But he says no, it's not that women have more tendency towards ghiba. It's a matter of who has more free time. If men are kept free, they can do the same. If women are busy, they may do less ghiba. This is in addition to iman and taqwa. But everyone is not that pious that even if they are free, they don't do anything bad. And he says in one of the cities in the United States, there was a story. He says that, I think we mentioned this in the first part of the book as well, that there was a common practice among women that they did gambling. And they tried to stop this bad practice of gambling. Preachers worked, but it didn't stop. Then the mayor said she had a solution, because the root of the problem had to be tackled. He realized that they do gambling when they get together because they're free. So suggested that we can have lots of competitions, games, prizes for women who don't work and have free time. And very quickly the problem was solved. So instead of just sitting and talking with each other, they started doing some artistic work, some handicrafts, etc. So it's not a matter of gender, it's not a matter of age. Every human being needs to have plan for their time. Otherwise, free time, instead of being a help, can become a problem, can be a burden, can be a source of drainage of energy, or being channeled to wrong things. Of course, when you choose the type of work, there are many factors, but one of the factors is to consider your talents, your potentials. He says, normally, if you undertake a suitable work where your interests are, your talents are, then you can give your heart to that work. Then it's very productive and very healthy. But if your interest is not there, and you push yourself to go from this hour to that hour to the office, it can be very much destructive. One benefits of the work is also that you can evaluate yourself. As long as we are at home and doing nothing, don't engage with other people, then we don't know how patient or impatient I am, how creative or not creative, how organized or not organized I am, what are my talents, how good I am in communication, how good I am in timekeeping. So through work, we can also evaluate ourselves. And also we can get engaged into logical process. For example, sometimes people think of becoming rich through things which are not logical. For example, by chance, by buying lottery, etc. But what is logical is something that can be planned, something that can be available for everyone, something that can be predicted. For example, you say, okay, I can start with this small work and then little by little grow. This small shop or selling something somewhere. Anyway, there are different options for different people, but just something which is predictable, something which is ordinary, which is natural. Don't rely on dreams and I don't know miracles to happen or accidents. And also impact on heart. He says when you don't work at all, your heart can become hard. You may suffer qasawatul qalb. He says one of the minimal benefits of working is that it prevents from qasawatul qalb, from our heart being hard. Then he says, as a summary, working at the same time that it is the effect of our thinking, our soul, our khayal, our heart, our body, but it's also making them. It's a maker of all these factors. And also he says working gives you a sense of honor, a sense of independence. There is a poem which is attributed to Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, which says لنقل الصخر من قلل الجبال أحب إلي من منن الرجال يقول الناس لي في الكسب عار فإن العار في ذل السؤال. If I move rocks from the top of mountains, they ask me, bring those rocks down. He says this is more lovable to me than doing nothing, but people then would have, kind of favor for me, and then they oblige me, say, we did this for you, we provided you with this. People tell me that working is a shame, or you shouldn't work. But he says shame is in asking people for help, not in working. Working is not shame, even if it is simple work, even if it is, cleaning the streets, there is no shame. But if I receive 10 times more than cleaning the street, but by begging in front of people, or even not begging, but accepting from people that they may later say, we did this for you, did that for you, then that is embarrassing. There is a story of Ibn Sina. Ibn Sina was a very special person in different aspects, very talented, very intelligent. And at some points also he was asked to be ministers, and so he was involved in administration in very high capacity. It's said that when he was a minister, wazir, at that time minister meant like prime minister or the only minister. So he was passing by a place that a person was working in cleaning the well of a toilet. These people were called kannas, who were either digging wells for toilets, or if they were filled, etc., they needed someone to clean. He heard that this person who has this difficult job, who has to go sometimes tens of meters, sometimes maybe 100 or more meters down and clean the well, the sewage. So he heard this person says, گرامی داشتم ای نفس از آنت که آسان بگذرد بر دل جهانت. O nafs, he was addressing his own soul, his own nafs. My soul, I have honored you so that you would not be attached to dunya, or this dunya would pass for you easily, more easily. Ibn Sina was surprised. This person with such job, he says, I have honored you, he says to his nafs. But this job is not a very great job. He asked him, then the reply was remarkable. He said, نان از شغل خسیس خوردن به که بار منت رئیس بردن. He said, if I have a very simple job and I make my own earning, it's better that I work for someone as a boss and then be under that person. I am working for myself. You are working for the king. I am independent, but you are not independent. You have to make sure always that the king is happy with you. Sometimes maybe the king expects you to do wrong things. It's not that every king is just. But I am independent. I don't need to answer to anyone. I don't need to worry about anyone. It's between me and my Lord. So he was surprised by this deep understanding of this person, that he finds a simple work a way of honoring his nafs, something that people who have high positions but they have to be dependent on others are deprived of. Then he refers to a famous story that one of the companions of the Prophet was very poor. One day, his wife told him, go to the Prophet and ask the Prophet for help. So he says, I went to see the Prophet. The Prophet was sitting and with his companions. And he says, before I mention anything, the Prophet said, من سألنا أعطيناه ومن استغنى عنا أغناه الله. Whoever asks us, we will give him. But whoever استغنى عنا, whoever feels that he doesn't need us, Allah will make him rich. So if you ask me for help, basically to put it simple, if you ask me for help, I will help you. But if you don't ask me for help and rely on Allah, Allah will make you rich. So he didn't ask for help. He went home. Again, another day his wife said, go and ask the Prophet for help. So this repeated 3 times. Then he realized that, no, this is a message for me. And he felt that he can do something, because Rasulullah is telling him, if you don't ask for help, Allah will make you rich. So he said, let me start with something simple, to go out of the city and collect some, wood, etc. He didn't have, of course, instruments, equipment. He was very poor, so he borrowed from some people. And the first day he went and worked, he managed to sell them and make a little money. Then he was very happy. Then he tried to continue, and then he was spending part of the money, saving part of it. After some time, he managed to buy equipment for himself. Even he managed later to buy an animal for carrying. And little by little, he was free from need. So one day again, he went to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Prophet said, didn't I tell you, من سألنا أعطيناه ومن استغنى عنا ومن استغنى عنا أغناه الله. Whoever asks us for help, we help. But if they don't ask us for help, Allah will make them rich. So there is very rich literature about this. He refers also to the work of some poets like Nasser Khosrow about significance of work, about sayings of some philosophers like Socrates, who said that working is the capital for happiness and prosperity. And in this way, the book ends. Of course, when we say people should work, we have discussed this in other places, for example, in Islamic lifestyle, Mafatihul Hayat, etc. There are lots of details. But as a summary, my understanding is that men should work, especially if it can be outside home, even if they don't need. It's good to be busy, even if you don't need money, or someone says, I give you money. Say, no, I want to work. I don't want to sit at home. Then it's a matter of what type of work. But for women, work is not as necessary as men, especially outside work. Women should be doing what they really like. Men, even if they don't like something, they have to work. It's better for them, for society, for different reasons, for family. If they work, they go out, if possible, and keep themselves busy. Even if they don't need, even if it is just, doing something which may look, useless. But it's better to work than not doing anything. But women should be working if they really like, if there is need, and not exhausting themselves, and not undermining and underestimating the work which is sacred, which is the work as a wife, as a mother. These are very important. So we should make a distinction between men and women when it comes to amount and type of the work. Yes, if you are able to look after your health, your education, your family, you have extra time, of course it's great. You do something which you like, something which gives you a spiritual satisfaction as well, not just only for the sake of money. Okay, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for being able to complete this book. We ask Allah to send His blessing to the soul of Ayatollah Mutahari and his teachers. And we pray that inshallah all of us can be engaged in proper tarbiyah for ourselves, or help other people, especially our next generation, in their tarbiyah inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Yes, anyone with questions can raise their hands.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you for your lecture.
You're welcome.
My question is that how can we recognize our potential?
Through the activities that you have had in the school, in the community, in the family, trying different things, you should be able to find out where you have more talent or more interest. And sometimes people who are experienced, maybe experienced teachers or instructors, they can also help you because they have met many people and they can notice that this person is good for this. So either you yourself should be able to find that through experiences, or someone experienced who knows you can tell you that But if you, in the end of the day, still are not sure, so maybe you can try different things before making long-term commitment. Take your time and try few things that you think you might be more suited to that field, and then you can realize. Of course, many people have more than one areas that they can really flourish. It's not just one, but some people, maybe there is an area that they are particularly talented for that. You have to find where you can be more successful. Everyone certainly has some areas that can really flourish.
Thank you, Aga.
You're
Another
welcome.
question I have.
Please mention your city also.
I'm from Taiwan, Pakistan.
MashaAllah.
My other question is how important, how earning is important for a lady. Earning money.
How important
Earning
is
money. Yes.
to make money?
Yes. For a lady or a woman.
Yeah. Making money was not the main concern. The main concern is to work, to be productive. Maybe you work and you don't make that much money. Maybe you do charity work. The focus was on working. Maybe you do voluntary work. Okay? So, we need to work. But as I said, there's a difference between men and women in the amount and type of the work. But we need to work. The second thing is we need to make halal earning. And a little saving, because sometimes unexpected things may happen, so we should have a little saving. Not, lots of saving for, many years to spend, and still it will not finish. We need to have some reasonable saving. So, for ladies, normally the responsibility is not upon themselves, either it's on father or husband. But if you can make some reasonable work without sacrificing your health, your spirituality, your haya, your family life, it's good to work and make some money also and use it in the way that Allah is pleased with. But the value of every person, especially women, is much more than money. So we should not work just for the sake of money. Do something you like, do something that you think is helping humanity, helping other people, and then on the side some money comes and okay, you keep that money, you use that money, whatever is needed. But to have this mentality that either I make money or I am useless, this equation is not right. This is not true. That either I make money or I'm useless. No. There are many things that you can do without making money, and still you can be very productive. So we shouldn't let social norms, which normally are imposed by social media or movies, films, etc., to affect us. We do what we are supposed to do. I have extra time, I have done my learning, studies, etc. I work, I decide. I don't let society decide for me, or the culture, which is not necessarily Islamic, decide for me. If I need to work, I work. How much? I decide. Where to work? I decide, based on my values, based on my responsibilities. I am now young, I can work. Later I have children, for example, teenagers especially, they need my attention. I don't work. I decide what's the best for me, for my family, for my community. I will do it. I don't let anyone to dictate me what to do.
Thank you. Thank you
May
very
Allah
much.
bless you, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
It is okay if I ask a quick question?
Inshallah. If
He is
I
lecturing
just,
yesterday.
yeah, I'm from Dubai.
yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted to know regarding ruju, what is ruju in like fiqh, and what is ihtiyat wajib? Can you explain with the example?
Ruju is normally used for turning from taqleed of one marja to another marja. So it can be in one mas'ala. Your muqallid is Grand Ayatollah A, but in this mas'ala you want to do ruju, means to refer to another marja. Sometimes it can be for the whole taqleed, but sometimes it's just for one mas'ala. So if your marja has fatwa, you cannot do ruju to another marja unless the second marja is equal in a'lamiyya to your knowledge. Then some maraja allow, even if it is fatwa, you can refer to another marja, but condition is that must be equal in a'lamiyya. So if two marja are at the same level, you have chosen one of them. In this mas'ala, you can choose to follow the second one if they are equal in a'lamiyya.
With knowledge.
In knowledge, yeah. Some allow that. But if it is not fatwa, it is ihtiyat wajib, means your marja is not 100% clear that what is the Islamic ruling, so he cannot issue fatwa. But he says, as a matter of necessary precaution, as a matter of ihtiyat wajib, you should do this. Okay, when there is ihtiyat wajib, you can refer to the one who is second in a'lamiyya, not equal. Even if it is second, is lower, but is the next person, fal a'lam. You can refer to fal a'lam, to the second person in a'lamiyya. Not any mujtahid. The one who is the next a'lam. So for ihtiyat wajib, there is more space. You can go to someone that you know he is not equal, but it is the second. But if there is fatwa, you can only refer to equal in a'lamiyya according to some maraja.
But Aga, how we will decide that who is the on the equal side or who is the first and second? Means, I don't know.
In the same way that you established who is a'lam. So based, for example, most of people is based on experts' view. Yeah, we are not experts, we refer to experts. So the experts tell us that in this time this person is the most knowledgeable, or they say there are few people that they are the same level. So those experts can tell us. If you are not sure that the second person is equal, then for fatwa you don't refer to anyone else.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
May Allah bless you, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa
From
rahmatullah.
Sydney, Australia. Kashif from Sydney, Australia.
Yes.
I had two questions, but I'll just ask the first one. And if there's more time, then I can ask later on after everyone else. The first question is, how can we train our children to take more risk in terms of starting something new, like, for example, a business or something for themselves? Because I know whenever most of us try to start something new, there's fear factor, taking risk. So how can we train our children to take more risk as such? Thank you.
Yeah. So one is maybe to make them familiar with the lives of other people, that in every field, even in science, but especially in politics, in social work, charity work, in business, unless you take risk, normally there is no big success. You have to be able to make decisions, difficult decisions, take risk, but measured risk, not bulk risk. Bulk risk is like gambling. No, we don't want to gamble, but measured risk means you study, you consult, then you put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do something. So if they study lives of people who have taken this route, for example, you can arrange meeting with some successful people in business, in community, family, etc. And also tawakkul. If we develop the sense of tawakkul, it's very good. Because the type of work is very important, and one factor, it's not the only factor, is that if you can have a type of work that you are independent, and indeed you can create job for other people, but you have the control, that is also a preference. And many times this, as you said, needs risk, but this is a good risk.
Thank you.
May Allah bless you. Maybe one also introductory step can be that if someone arranges for them a kind of partnership, because at the beginning they are very afraid. So if someone who has more experience, can involve them in some projects, and then little by little they can become independent.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.
From Lahore, Pakistan.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
And I congratulate you on the event of Eid al-Ghadir and today the Milad of Imam Musa Kazim. And I
Thank
have
you.
a
Congratulations.
question. As sometimes it is difficult to complete all the tasks, but I like to do on regular basis. And if I divide these tasks on month or a week, then it made me curious about when the day will come when I will complete the specific work. So how I can overcome from this curiosity? And iltimasa dua. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. May Allah bless you. So I'm not sure I understood the questions. Sometimes there are tasks that you cannot do during the day. Could you or someone explain what was the question?
Means if I have to complete 11 or 10 words in a day, but it is sometimes difficult to complete all. And if I prioritize some from them one or two or five tasks for a day, then other will remain. Then the other will remain. Will that just make me curious how when I will complete this.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Ahsan. Yeah, we need to be organized and plan. Planning and organizing our life is very important. So you should see how much you can do every day. You have to be realistic. If you expect too much from yourself, put too much pressure on yourself, it's not going to work in the long term. You can damage your health, you can damage your mental capacity, etc. On the other hand, you shouldn't, waste your time and say, okay, I do only this much, which is very little. So, in a very balanced, reasonable way, you should target certain things for every day and try to do them. Don't leave it for the next day. But if something really out of control happens, try to do extra next day or extra by end of the week, so that you are back to the track. So planning and being organized, these are very important. Amir al-Mu'minin said, أوصيكم بتقوى الله ونظم أمركم وأوصيكم بتقوى الله ونظم أمركم. He mentioned nazm right after taqwa. To be organized, to plan, are very important. So undertake some reasonable task and try to deliver it as much as possible. Don't allow too many exceptions. Don't let this be delayed as much as possible.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
One question related to the.
Mention your city also.
Yeah, I'm from Delhi, India.
Yes. Bismillah.
Yeah, my question was with regard to doing business, right? So since Islam recommends people to start their own venture, right? But usually, if you compare business with job offers better work-life balance as compared to business. Business, you need to take a lot of stress, you need to work very hard, right? And you will not find enough time to give to your family and to your societal responsibilities, right? So what do you say, like how we should actually, we should basically do the job. Job is always has limited salary and everything, but it actually gives you much more better quality of life.
Yeah, if you have to choose between having your own business but then having no time at all for your family, for community, and just always be working and working, and having a decent job in a company or office, which is nice job, Islamically is fine, you feel happy about it, and you have then extra time, so the second is better if you have to choose between the two. But if the second is working in a place that is not good, you are not happy with the work that they do, no. Or if you can do for yourself, and maybe after 1 year, 2 years of putting energy, but then you can have normal hours, then the first is good. But if it is a matter of choosing between your own business that all the time demands extra hours of work, working in evening, weekend, traveling too much, then having no time for your family, then no. Because your family need you more than they need money. First is being available and having quality time with family.
Okay, Sheikh. Thank you.
May Allah bless you, inshallah. Alaikum assalam. Yes.
Yeah, for my second question, could you please explain to us all regarding the importance of updating our skills and training ourselves to get better opportunities and better reward in terms of the principle that the things or the blessings come to those who deserve it rather than those who really need it. Because a lot of times people think that if they need something, Allah will give it to them, rather than if they make themselves deserving by training themselves, upskilling. So please can you elaborate on that one? Thank you.
Yes, welcome. Yeah, it is very interesting that at the same time that we believe Allah is Razzaq, Allah is the sustainer, we are also asked to seek rizq, talabur rizq. Yeah, it's like knowledge. Allah has oceans of knowledge, but you need to seek knowledge. You cannot say, I sit at home and He gives me knowledge. For rizq also you need to seek rizq. You need to prepare, qualify yourself so that you can get rizq or better rizq. So one part of it is to qualify ourselves by developing skills, by getting experience, by educating ourselves, by presenting yourself. Sometimes you have lots of skills and talents, but no one knows about you. So then the opportunities can be limited for you. So we put our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also He expects us to act rationally and wisely. So if you want a good job, you pray for it, but also you try to qualify for it. You cannot expect Allah to give a job which has to be given to a doctor to you if you are not a doctor. So, I am praying hard that I become doctor in this hospital. Have you studied? Have you become doctor? Or does anyone know that you are a doctor? No, I am just praying. No, you have to act rationally, wisely, and pray. Prayer is very important, but prayer is taken seriously by Allah when you have worked towards fulfillment of that prayer. Our time is over.
Assalamu alaikum, Agha.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Rahmatullah barakatuh. Agha, I just have one question. I am doing a research on the plants
Please mention your
mentioned in the
city
Quran.
also. Sorry.
Yes, I'm calling from India, Karnataka state, Tumkur city.
Yes.
Agha, my question is, I'm doing a research study and I'm doing a research on the plants and the vegetation mentioned in the Quran and the significance of utilizing them in our day-to-day lives to avoid health diseases and lifestyle diseases. So I wanted to ask you which books of hadith should I refer for to get more information on the plants and the fruits which are mentioned in the Quran. Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't remember a specific book. I have to look for it. Maybe in Arabic or Farsi you find something, but I don't remember specifically. We have, for example, Tibbul Imam al-Rida alayhi salam, the hadith that Imam explains, some of the outcomes of, some food and things like that. Maybe the best way to start with your research is to start with the books of tafsir, not hadith. But there are some books of tafsir that they mention also hadith about those ayat. For example, if you are working about fig and olive, والتين والزيتون, or شجرة مباركة زيتونة. So you can start with books of tafsir of these verses and then from there expand. They give references to hadith, then go to those books of hadith, then you find other hadiths maybe as well. And there are also some good softwares for searching hadith, so you can use these as keywords and search and find other hadiths.
Yes, Aga, can you please recite the dua?
Inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا وامن علينا برضاه وهب لنا رأفته ورحمته ودعاءه وخيره اللهم اشف مرضانا اللهم اشف مرضانا اللهم ارحم موتانا اللهم اقض حوائجنا اللهم يسر أمورنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. التماس دعاء في أمان الله.
جزاك
في أمان الله. Thank you very much.